Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K. I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, and I hope you're having a great day. I should say that the purpose, yes, the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you so much to my wonderful moderators for everything that you do in holding down the comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about a Black Democrat saying that Trump and ICE is coming for everybody. So I guess we need to be scared and be aware. Of course, we'll get into that. I'll show y'all a video of who it is. You guys have seen her before. So we'll get into that in just a second. Donovan and I was already, we already had our verbal fisticuffs going on. I'm sure if that comes up, we'll probably get into that again. Donovan and I, boy, it don't take us much for us to get into a dust up. I was like, we got to go on anyway. So, Donovan, how you doing?
And now that I've got some sense into you, once again, it's great to be back and on the show. Happy New Year again to you guys out there in internet land. Again, we can't do this show without you guys, so you guys are greatly appreciated. Do us a favor, if you want to keep these great conversations going, there's ways you can do it. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, however you guys want to do it. Please don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. You get great videos from Brother Phil Scott, Demetra K, Wongale, Vicky Dillard, and a whole host of other folks. So again, African Diaspora News Channel app, a lot of stuff's going on in the diaspora. I get my information on there. Graduations are starting to come up. We're halfway through the school year, a little bit past halfway, I guess now, if you consider that. Nothing is better than knowledge. So to pass that on, it's really a great thing. But this little topic here that we have is going to be very, very interesting. Demetra, just before we came on the show, we were, I had to school her once again. You guys know I got to school her with her rhetoric. We got to be good for everybody. No, hell with these people. Black people, continue to mind your business. Simple as that. But let's get into it. This is going to be interesting.
He ain't took me nowhere. That damn show no school. Anyway, hello to everybody. So let's see who else is on here. Thomas, how you doing? Seymour, what is up? Mike, nice in the building. I saw one who cares. African Native. Edward, how you doing? Let's see. Kels, what is going on? Tiff, Strawberry, how you doing? So not y'all scrapping behind the scene. Yes, Ike and Tina's perfect. Yeah, he think he's Ike. But I always say that we're the Ike and Tina that was in the back of the limo at the end of the movie. King Noble, how you doing? Hope you're doing well.
No, we're the ones where he brings the roses and is trying to apologize, whatever.
And she's like, suck my ass, Ike. I'm just playing. Oh God. Okay, so and Monet, how you doing? Tito, what is up with you? Easy E in the building, long time no see. Okay, so I'll get back to all the comments in just a second. Okay, so anyway, as you guys may or may not know, ICE has converged on to Minnesota, to be exact. It sounds like Trump sent in about 2,000 troops earlier last week. Sounds like he's sending in some more, right? ICE agents and all that. Now, of course, you guys know about a month or so ago, the radar, if you will, was on the Somalis there in Minnesota. And it's kind of been that way for a while where Trump pretty much labeled them garbage, and then found out that there was, I guess, a lot of fraud going on. Sounds like to the tune of $9 billion. There was some daycare stuff going on, and a whole host of other things. Again, the Somalis became the target, but they don't talk about the white woman that was at the helm of it. But I guess anyway. So anyway,
real quick, I'm going to interrupt you. The white woman was ordered to give back 200 some millions and all her personal gain, like her house and her cars and.
Right.
$1 million in cash or something like that.
Yeah, but nobody really talk about her. But that's typical. The Somalis are getting the good old Black American treatment, right? Where they let the white folks just get off scot-free or go under the radar, and they make you the boogeyman. But anyway, so of course, yes. So of course, last week, that there was a white woman by the name of Renee Nicole Good, who had her life taken from her due to an ICE interaction. Somehow she was in the middle of the street. And her wife was there as well. Sounds like her wife told her to come that way after dropping the 6-year-old off. And they had some back and forth with the ICE agent. ICE agent put, one in her face, if you will, and then put some more into her vehicle, taking her life. So there's a lot of back and forth as to actually what happened. There's a lot of people saying that the ICE agent was wrong, that she was not trying to run him over, this, that, and the other. So from that, there's been a lot of protest everywhere, right? Even here in Houston, there was protesting just all over. People want ICE gone. They want them abolished. Of course, they're likening them to, Nazis and things like that. Of course, we also know that when Trump got into office, he and Tom Homan, who was dubbed his border czar, said that they were going to be doing a mass deportation effort to combat that of the Biden administration, that they did a mass immigration effort where they allowed all the people who wanted to, I guess, in a sense, except for Haitians, right? Because we saw when they got rounded up at the Texas border, they allowed a lot of people to come in here. So Trump says, once I get in office, this is something he was saying he campaigned on. Yeah, I'm going to be doing something about that, right? And so, of course, here we are. And there's a lot going on with ICE. And I should also say that, of course, in Los Angeles, that it didn't get a lot of attention. And I saw when I talked about it on the African Diaspora News Channel, a lot of people said they didn't even hear about what happened to Keith Porter, who was unalived, if you will, on New Year's Eve by an ICE agent, that off-duty ICE agent that lived in the same apartment complex as him. But you didn't hear hardly anything about it. You're starting to hear about it now because the white woman in Minneapolis had her life taken from her from ICE. But you still haven't really heard a lot of Black politicians talk about Keith Porter like they have talked about that of Renee Good. But anyway, I'm going to show y'all a clip of Representative Ayanna Pressley. Sounds like she was on MS Now. I guess that's what they call it. And this is what she said about Trump and ICE.
ICE cannot be reformed. This has nothing to do with training or new protocols. This is about cultural practices that have been underway for many years. And again, not only the brutality and the constitutional abuses of ICE in our streets, but what is happening in our ICE facilities where people are being detained and warehoused, and many of them unlawfully. We have had over 30 deaths in ICE facilities just in this recent span, not to mention how pregnant women that are detained, how they've been treated. So I believe in doing that radical work and getting to the root cause of things. Again, Congress has the power of the purse and appropriations. We need to use it in this moment because this harm is coming for everyone. It is sowing chaos and terror in our streets. And how did we get here? Well, Donald Trump is in the Oval Office. He is a dictator. He claims to care that he's about public safety and that these actions are being done in the name of public safety. Are you feeling more safe? I don't know anyone feeling more safe. People are feeling less safe and more threatened by the probability of state-sanctioned violence.
All right, so that was Representative Ayanna Pressley. Again, just to reiterate, she says that ICE cannot be reformed. Gosh, there's just so much going on with that little clip, but it cannot be reformed. Not too long ago, they were talking about police reform, because police are typically brutal, more so than anybody, disproportionately Black folks here in America. They're not talking about police reform anymore, really. They're talking about ICE reform because of the illegal immigration things that's going on here. Of course, as we always talk about, and I will say I don't like how ICE is doing a lot of the things they're doing, but ICE is here for a reason, to make sure people who have come over here illegally leave, right? That is the odd job of ICE, but for whatever reason, seems like the Democrats and a whole lot of people just do not want ICE to do anything, right? I don't know how you deal with people coming over here illegally. As I said before, I imagine if you go to any other country, and I talked about my situation in the DR, right? They have a ICE type of thing there where they snatch people up who aren't supposed to be there because they tried to snatch my daughter and I up. God is my witness, right? They did. They tried to snatch us up literally, right? Put their hands on us and tried to throw us. That was the next step, right? Into their deportation, like jail. Oh yeah, Donovan's the one that called them, right? The jail on wheels. So I say that to say most countries have some sort of a squad, whether it's ICE, a deportation, somebody to say, hey, let me see your papers. I ain't got it. Come with me, right? But then she also goes on to say that during this span, so I'm not quite sure span she's talking about, if she's talking about Trump's second term, that there has been 30 deaths in regards to ICE so far. But it should be said that under the Obama administration, there was about 56 deaths due to ICE and deportations and things like that. And also, to this point, Obama has deported more, right, illegal immigrants to date, right? They even dubbed him deporter in chief. Why don't they talk about that? Why weren't they upset with ICE then? Why weren't they upset and said that ICE needed to be abolished then, right? Now, of course, we heard a lot, especially during Trump's first term, about the kids in cages. Y'all remember that? They were, oh, and it's terrible, right? I'm not saying it's right, but that started under Obama, right? He had it kind of like first. Now, again, I should say that Obama's ICE department under him wasn't as austere that we know of, right? It wasn't done out in the open like Trump has them now. He's paying ICE agents $50,000 and paying off school loans. It sounds like there's a lot of people from all walks of life who are ICE agents. I saw one with a swastika tattoo on the back of his neck here. So it's like, how did you get past, right? But I guess that's who they're looking for. And she talks about pregnant women who are being treated horribly in ICE detention. Is like, well, you got a lot of pregnant women in prison, especially, you know, Black women that are treated horribly as well in prison. And it's like, I don't see anybody talking about correctional officers need to be, you know, abolished and get rid of that, right? Because again, you think about getting rid of ICE, which is a law enforcement, then how do you regulate illegal immigration? I don't know. I'm just asking, Donovan, maybe you can answer that in just a second. Then, of course, she says that, you know, Trump and his terror and horror is coming for everybody. So I guess the illusion is we all need to try to do something about it. Of course, she talked about Congress, that they have some powers and they really need to use it. Of course, we know that Congress, in a sense, is run by the Republicans now. Up until the midterms, things may flip around. The Democrats only need 3 seats to do that, to get the House back, right? Will it happen? Probably. I think that it will. And then she says it's state-sanctioned terror or something like that. And that Trump, he's a dictator and he is talking about public safety, but people are not safe with the way things are going on. And so she asked the question, do you feel safe? I think we're less safe, right? Now, when I think about this, and Donovan, I'm going to give it to you. When I think about this, is Trump a dictator? I think Trump wants to be a dictator, and this is a whole different subject. I really believe, and I've seen strong evidence, as you guys have, Trump is not even he's not running the White House. He's not running Washington at all. He's got other people running Washington. I've seen some things, and you guys have probably seen some things within the last couple of days as he was having a meeting with the oil executives. He just gets up in the middle of the meeting and I don't know if it was raining or whatever was going on outside. He goes, I got to see this. And he gets up and they're all kind of looking like, what is this dude doing, right? He literally gets up in the middle of the meeting and starts staring out the window, right? So it's like, I don't know. But I think there's a lot of proof that he is not really running the White House. They're putting up as a front man. There's some other things going on. But as far as the safety thing here, my thing is, if ICE is going to get people, it sounds like they've gotten some pretty, seedy people off the street just recently, as far as illegal immigrants. If they're doing their job, is it unsafe that ICE is doing their job? Or is it unsafe because people are getting in the way of ICE doing their job? And then now they're having these unsafe interactions. Because again, I don't know why Renee was in the middle of the street. Maybe she got stuck. I don't know why she was there, right? But while she was there was other people there throwing snowballs and, doing the most. So it's like, what makes what they're doing unsafe? And does it become unsafe when you have these protesters and things? I don't really know the answer or anything like that, but I'm just asking questions. Donovan?
Well, you hit a lot of good points. There's some things I agree with you and I disagree with you on. But for those of us that even understand what a dictator is, have you ever been in a dictator country and he let people just speak negatively about him and his policies? I've never seen that. Maduro's, you talk to an average Venezuelan, they talk about not having freedom and living under a dictator. When you live under a dictator, you can't talk against the government. That's not good for the dictator's business. They incarcerate you immediately. So last I checked, Donald Trump isn't stopping anybody from protesting. Donald Trump isn't stopping anybody from saying what they want to say. He hasn't taken anybody's rights from them outside of breaking the law. So those of us that don't understand what dictatorship is, have never lived under a dictatorship, you don't know what you're talking about. Like I said, for the congresswoman to say what she did, she would be in a dictatorship. She would have disappeared by now. You know what I mean? No questions asked. She would have disappeared. So obviously we're not in a dictatorship, right? So, what got me about what she was saying was she's worried about the illegals in the detention centers and how they're being treated and this and that. And oh my God, it's just horrible. This is a Black representative. How many Black people, when I say Black people, that's anybody in the diaspora, that are incarcerated still till this day, that are being mistreated and whatever. There was a young man that came out of Rikers Island, falsely put into jail there, ended up, deleting himself later on and doing all these things. These horrible prisons that we have around the United States. Folsom Prison down in Louisiana, Rikers Island, Pelican Bay here in California. How come you don't hear these Black representatives talking about the horrors within the prisons and reforming those prisons? But the minute people who are not supposed to be here have a little bit of interaction with a ICE agent, oh, it's horrible. How inhumane. Get the hell out of here, in my opinion. So, as I'm looking at all this craziness and this stupidness, I'm going to say this. Is it not ICE's job to deport people that are not supposed to be here, to catch them, put them whatever they're going to put and get them out of here? That is their job. Now, the last time I checked, even at the local municipality, when you put yourself in between a law enforcement official, which is what ICE is, they are law enforcement officials, that's a crime. That's called obstruction. Why would you do that? Especially if you have children at home and you have a job that you need, you depend on and all that other stuff. It's crazy. The Trump derangement syndrome is out of control. When you interact with law enforcement, it's called obstruction, and you will be charged with a crime. Why would you put yourself in that situation? Let ICE do what it is they need to do. If you have a problem with how our law enforcement officials, federal, state, government officials do their job, there's mechanisms where you can address that. Your representative, or you could do a suit. You can file suit. But to put yourself out there like the dummy you look like, you're dealing with people with guns. Guns. Now, as a Black person, we know that when it comes to law enforcement and their guns, and gosh forbid, they have to use that weapon. Isn't there something called qualified immunity, Demetra, that a lot of these people have in the jurisdiction of their jobs? Now, I saw the video, and I have a different perspective on the video. When you use your car, and Demetra, you remember this, Taisha Miller here in Riverside, California, she was just sleeping in her car and was gunned down by law enforcement officials. Did anybody go to jail for that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because they said when she awoke, there was a gun sitting, or there was a weapon sitting in the passenger seat. And so they opened up and took her life straight out. Nobody went to jail. What kills me, Demetra, and my fellow co-hosts about this is the Black people that are crashing out for this woman who went out there recklessly and put herself in a position that law enforcement will delete her off the planet and do all whatever they're doing. There are mechanisms that you can use other than putting your body against a law enforcement official that has the backing of law behind them. It's very hard to fight a organization or an officer that has qualified immunity and has the rule of law behind him. It's very hard. But yet you've got these, excuse me, I hate to say this, but this is my observation, white women crashing out for people that shouldn't be hit to begin with.
Absolutely. And for those of y'all asking, did I see Jasmine Crockett crying? I did. I actually talked about it. I think it was Thursday night on African Diaspora News Channel. If I'm not mistaken, I did a compilation of things. And yeah, I showed her crying. She was crying for real. Like, wow, over Renee Good, but I didn't see any tears for Keith Porter. And somebody said that Keith Porter, he was pew-pewing a gun in the air. And he was, but he wasn't the only one doing it New Year's Eve. You're not supposed to do it, but it's kind of what people do, but it wasn't just him. They said it was a whole lot of people that were doing it, but the ICE agent said, oh, I thought that was coming toward my home. So he left his house and then he went and, took matters into his own hands. And so, obviously there's an investigation. And Andre, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that.
Yes, and Demetria, let me ask you this question. What's the operative word that any law enforcement official uses to protect themselves? I feared for my life.
Yeah, but Keith Porter's for you. Why'd you fear for your life? Nobody told you to take your ass outside. You know what I mean? It's giving George Zimmerman. That's what it's giving, So yeah. And let's see here. Oh, and then hey Thunder, how you doing? Says question: is it me or the words dictator or narcissist are being thrown around without care of the actual meaning or context? Yeah, so I want to get back to that dictator. I think most of them I want to be, and in a sense, operate like a dictator, but I think Trump is probably pretty close to it because, yeah, there has been a lot of people who've lost their jobs or been kicked out of school or even and jailed for saying certain things, especially about the community. You call them the untouchables. You can't say nothing about. Of course, they wanted a lot of these higher learning institution colleges and stuff to sign all of these different contracts and things about anti-Semitism and this, that, and the other. So a lot of people have gotten in trouble. When Charlie Kirk died, a lot of people got put out of school. They were exercising their freedom of speech and they were kicked out of school, lost their jobs, and a whole host of things. So yeah, that did go on.
But was that by Trump or was that by the school? Because I really feel that Trump is more like he wants to be more of a mafia boss than he does a dictator.
Come on, let's not lie, okay? That was done at the behest of Trump and the Republicans and MAGA. Because no time have you not been able to do that and lose your job. They were literally, listen, you could go look and see. I'm not going to argue about that. It was Trump, Vice President Vance, and a whole host of other people calling. You had here, what's his face? Greg Abbott calling for the expulsion of people talking about Charlie Kirk. So they all were doing it and people lost their jobs. They literally strong-armed colleges and universities to change their language to make it more favorable for one group of people opposed to a whole lot of people. And Trump and them, come on now, man, let's not get brand new. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not, again, I'm in the middle, but they literally withheld money from these schools. And wait, they're not supposed to dictate what curriculum they're supposed to talk about. But they withheld a lot of money because of certain things against a certain community. So yes, they did do that.
Right. Okay. So let's hypothetically say they did do that. So you mean to tell me the school or the church or whatever it is doesn't have the integrity to say, you know what, we're going to stand on business. We don't need your money. So they would rather keep getting the money rather than stand on the integrity that they're supposed to have. That's all I'm saying.
And you moved to go.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying what I'm saying is I agree with what you're saying if that was the case. But just because somebody makes a request doesn't mean I have to follow through with the request. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I don't, because you're moving the goalposts. It wasn't that they stood on business. It was that they had to anyway. Now, there's some colleges that said, no, we don't care. But a lot of them acquiesced because they needed the money. So it's not that they didn't stand on business or that they did. It was that the dictation came down that if you don't do A, B, C, and D for this community, then you're not getting money. That's giving dictator.
But then again, money's your motivator. So you don't give a damn that somebody did this or whatever. I know what you're saying, but it's a red herring. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is you're moving the goalpost because you're saying you could only stand on business because the money. Oh, we have to give in for the money. If you are so concerned about a certain issue, stand on your business. Simple as that. We don't need your money. We don't need your money. We don't need your dictatorship. We're going to do what we want to do, just like the states do, just like the sanctuary cities. We don't care what the federal government says. We going to do our own thing. We're going to protect these illegals. They're standing on business. Of course, they're losing the money now, and then they're taxing the black neighborhoods, but they're standing on business. So you can't have it both ways.
Again, you've moved the goalpost, because it wasn't that they had to stand on bit. It just is. You can't, because what you're doing is working backwards. You're saying you're glossing over the fact that they even had to stand on business. If they were not being strong-armed, then they would not have to stand on business. So you have to address the fact that they were strong-armed. And if they weren't strong-armed, it was, see, because now what we're doing is we're victim blaming. We're saying, well, yeah, so what? They told you had to do this and that, and this, that, and the other, and you didn't have to do it. Come on, man, quit playing. Because, yeah, you didn't hold $5 over these people. You're holding millions, in some cases, billions over these institutions. So we got to address the fact that they were even given the ultimatum in the first place.
So why put yourself in a position where you are being kidnapped and being a hostage to the money? That's what I'm saying. Why is it that okay, the federal government gives you this money? Okay, that's fine. If they say this is how we're going to do it and we're going to pull this, and that's their power to do that. So just be independent.
Even if you should just be independent, you're still glossing over that the demands was made in the first place. Because in the same vein, and I'm gonna get to these comments, in the same vein, you said you shouldn't have put yourself in a position to be kidnapped. Well, why don't you not kidnap me? And cause so now I'm the one to blame because I was kidnapped and no onus on the kidnapper.
Right. Now, again, with these schools, I don't know what schools we're talking about in particular, but I know a lot of state schools are tax funded. I know HBCUs are robbing the people that can afford to pay, deaf, dumb, and blind, all this money. Where's the money going? But that's another story. But we're not going to agree on this topic, but let's get to the comments.
I'm getting to them. I'm just saying, these ain't my facts. I'm just telling you what happened. These things happen. I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you that they did, in all fairness. Hey, Quincy, how you doing? Let's see who else. James Fisher and James Mitchell, what's going on with you? He says, James, he says, ICE is not coming for us FBAs. What the devil is wrong with some of our people? Damn, by the way, good evening, Sister D and Brother Don. And same back at you. Dear self, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sean West, how you doing? Says, brother, how you doing? Brother Samuel, he says, all these camera angles, the police filming as he was shooting seems bizarre and suspicious, or was it some associate? He says, gay with black? I don't. He says they treated her as such. Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of angles. They even showed inside the car, outside. It was a lot going on, right? I don't know. For me, I want to know how she ended up on the street in the first place. That's what I don't understand, right? Thunder says, speaking of standing on business, but I heard the U.S. is under sanctions. I don't know. Edward says, that sounds like mob, not dictatorship. Well, don't mobs dictate? Right? Now, isn't it the same thing? Mobs dictate. I'm trying to figure out what we're doing here. Because what we're doing here is moving the goalposts by saying, oh, well, you shouldn't have put yourself in a position to do that. It's like, come on, man. It's called, freedom of speech. That's what it was, where people are being penalized, jailed, and harmed financially, academically for freedom of speech. All right, you're on mute.
So their constitutional rights are being violated. And we had a gentleman in my city that's his constitutional rights were being violated. And we ended up paying $2 million because his constitutional rights were being violated. So whoever these people are, they're going to get a payday.
Yeah, I think so eventually, you know what I mean? But like I said, when Charlie Kirk died, people was losing their jobs and education and stuff left and right. It was crazy. You know what I mean? And to the point to where people were paralyzed, like, man, I can't say nothing about him, you know, because literally. So I'm just putting that extra information out there. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? African Native says, what the Democrats and Republicans do for America goes hand in hand, in tandem. The end goal is the same. Come on now, says blacks, regardless, always ignoring the end. Absolutely. No matter who's in the White House, black people going to get it. You know, Steve, how you doing? Says Stephen Wright. He says, ICE has not come for me yet. Not yet, right?
Well, no, Steve, ICE is not going to come for you. It's the slave patrols. Remember, Project 2025, isn't that what Kamala and the Democrats have told you? ICE isn't going to come for you. You're native born here, I would assume. So no, the slave patrols, that's what they said. Slave patrols are going to come. Jennifer Lewis said they're going to shoot you in the back. So that's what you got to worry about. Don't worry about ICE. It's the slave patrols.
Well, I mean, she acting like they haven't already been doing that. You know, it's not like something's going to start now, that because her assessment was that, oh, now that Biden and you guys is out of office and y'all didn't want Kamala in there, now they're going to start shooting you in the back. It's like they already been doing that. Julius, how you doing? Says, never say what people won't do, especially when it comes to us. Hey, I co-sign that. Sharon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Miss Sweets, what is going on with you? Kimmy, what's going on? Says she was an agitator. She had been out there antagonizing those agents all day. So you talking about Renee, I've heard a lot of things. Of course, the White House is not backing down. They, you know, have called her a terrorist and a whole host of things. So it just, there's a lot of narratives out there. El, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sound like he says I'm still waiting on my check. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you for that. African Native says, I think Trump is an authoritarian rather than a dictator. I don't think Trump is either. I think Trump is just a figurehead. I know most presidents are figureheads, but I think Trump is in the real sense. I don't know if y'all saw when Marco Rubio handed him a note when they were having the meetings with the oil executives, and he being Trump, wasn't supposed to read the note out loud. But he read the note out loud, and Marco was like, so he's literally got strict. I know they all do, but Trump is just like, man, because they say he worth almost $7 billion now. He wasn't worth that when he went to the White House the second term. So right.
Well, I kind of get incensed when people use this term dictator. You're using the term dictator toward this man. You know, I'm about fairness. Okay, you got to be fair about it. But yet Biden told you that if you didn't take this thing, you're going to lose your job. And a lot of people lost their job because they didn't take the stick, right? Biden said, sit down and shut up and do this. I mean, you had a election to where you as the voter didn't even have a choice of who was going to run in the primary. But we keep talking about, dictatorship. The Democrats do more, to me, in my opinion, dictatorship stuff, or just maybe they all do it. They're all in cahoots, but how can you say one and not the other? It's just mind-boggling to me.
I mean, I think they're all a dictatorship. I mean, Biden told the black misleadership, y'all gonna do what I say do. Y'all gonna get along with these Hispanics. So I mean, that's how dictators act, right? There's a lot going on. Again, these people are figureheads, but to say that, what Trump is doing is not some form of dictatorship, it's a lie. It is. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, nothing says you're more like a dictator than going to snatch a whole country without the approval of Congress, right? Now we run in Venezuela, and now they're trying to circumvent it and screw Cuba over. Now Cuba's got to answer to the United States, and if you ask me, that's just getting back some old vendetta from the 1950s or 60s under the Kennedy administration, right? During the Bay of Pigs and all that. So now they're trying to go revisit that by saying, Cuba, now you answer to us, because Cuba was benefiting from the oil of Venezuela. So there's a lot going on here. But again, I think you're a little bit of a dictator if you are going and play Battleship Galactica with fishing boats without Congress's approval. I'm just saying.
Right. But see, this is the thing. We keep saying that narrative that he needs congressional approval. No, he doesn't. If you look at the War Powers Act, Congress has conceded their power to declare war or to declare operations to the executive. He has 48 hours upon committing troops to a combat status to report to Congress. They gave him, if they don't want him to have that power, why isn't Congress doing their job and taking that away?
So then I'm not saying that's right or wrong, that's over my head, but then what was the emergency to go do what they did? And while they were all in recess and all that, why couldn't he wait to see? I mean, they own the House, they being a Republican, so why not just wait? I mean, they've been talking about Venezuela, and now I'm seeing a lot of people revisit this clip from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he was talking about it in 2017. He warned that Trump, when he was in office the first time, would go do that to Venezuela. So what was the rush for Trump's administration to do it now?
Well, see, here's the thing. I hear where you're going with that, and you're absolutely right. He doesn't need to have a rush or whatever. They gave him the power to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He has 48 hours to report. Bottom line, period. I know it doesn't make sense to us and, this, that, but I'm going to tell you, go read the power that he has. I want you guys to think about this. Once the troops are committed to danger, what's Congress going to do? Oh, well, let's pull them out. No, they're already there. The operation's going to be done. We could Monday morning quarterback it after the fact, but the fact of the matter is that law and that power has been on the books for a very, very long time, and a lot of presidents use it. Obama used it. He didn't inform Congress he was going into Libya. He didn't inform them initially when that happened. He didn't inform Congress when he went to go get bin Laden. He didn't inform Congress when he killed an American citizen in the Middle East. I mean, this is, like I said, everybody has a problem with it. And here's what I'm going to ask you guys. Have you guys noticed? No matter what Trump and the Republicans do, the Democrats take the opposite side and then vice versa. Do you guys see this game? Because then you could go back and look at clips of Nancy Pelosi talking about illegal immigration, the crackdown and stuff in the early 90s. Hillary Clinton in the early 2000s. They sound just like Trump does now. It's political theater and political games, and they get us all upset and all this other stuff. It's the same party. It's called the ruling party. These people have one thing in common, Demetra. They're all rich, period.
Yeah, that's the money party. That's I don't know how much of them the oligarchs, right? There's only really a few of those, but that's the machine. Brother Salmon says, we're taught in high school that only Congress can declare war. Yeah, so there is a lot of conversation about that. Of course, somebody said, and Trump said it himself, well, we didn't say anything to Congress because we didn't want nobody to know. We didn't want anybody to leak that we're going to do it. So he conceded that, yeah, we probably should have, but we wanted it to be as secret as possible. So he said that.
Right. And you got to remember, that is true. Congress is the only thing that could declare war. You notice the Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. We went into Korea. That was a police action. You see what I'm saying? They changed the narrative. The Vietnam War, it's called a conflict. Now we're in operations. Everything's an operation. They circumvent the legalese by calling it something different. It's the same action.
I was about to say, come on.
Yeah, it's the same action. But the fact of the matter is, if Congress has a problem with it, then go into the War Powers Act and repeal the fact that he has unilateral power, just like he has the power to pardon. You might not like how the president can pardon, but he can pardon himself, or not himself. They're still debating that. But he can pardon anybody else that he wants without regard, without review. He has that power that was given to him. Have them repeal the 48-hour verdict. It makes no sense to let this man commit troops into danger and then, well, you got to report to us within 48 hours. We're in the stuff now. We're in it. What you gonna do?
Tyrone, how you doing? Says Trump wanted to take the president of Venezuela because the rigged voting machines that allow Biden to win were linked to Venezuela. So Trump wants to use Maduro as a witness to the fraud. Where you hear that?
So we had to kidnap him to be a witness to it.
Had nothing to do with the oil, huh? None at all. Because at first, Marco Rubio's like, we don't need the oil. We got our own oil. It's like, well, you took 2 of the oil tankers. Now y'all can't, you met with all these oil executives all of a sudden, right? Because what they wanted to do, for understand, is let the American oil executives now come get a crack. But I think Chevron was like, well, I don't know if that's kind of what we want. I forget why they said I don't know. They think about it. So
it's bad PR, and a lot of stockholders bad
like,
PR.
We want the oil, but you kidnapping presidents to get it. You know what I mean? Like if something falls off the truck, we don't want to necessarily nail. We don't want to. If it falls off, we don't want to have it where everybody saw. We know where you got that from because it fell off that truck, right? We just kind of want the merchandise. So yeah, I don't think they kidnap machines.
He hit the like button, you guys, for us. We appreciate it. Helps the algorithm. But Black Ghost 2093 had a great saying. He says, Diddy needs the oil. He ran out of it. I love it.
They might have. No, I ain't gonna say it because anyway. Okay, so let me see. Who else haven't I seen on here so I can make sure? A secret place says Despicable Demetra. I didn't know if that's a compliment or either way, I'll take it. Miss Sweet says, I love playing I Declare War as a child card game. Me too. Candyman, he says Trump is doing FBA a favor politically and socially against all of these people attacking us, scamming and gentrifying of neighborhoods and our politics, dying policies for FBAs. Yeah, I mean, there is an argument for that, right? I mean, because we know that the Democrats especially, they welcoming in everybody. Again, the CBC, they call themselves the Congressional Black Caucus, but they don't really do anything for Black Americans at all. They do stuff for other Blacks, right? But not Black Americans, the NAACP. I didn't, as of the other day, I didn't see if they said anything about Keith Porter, talking about the white woman there in Minneapolis. So, yeah, in a sense, it is because the people who we elect, and we need to stop doing that, they completely ignore us. So, yeah, Aboriginal Copper says, from my understanding, the president can go into conflict without permission of Congress, but Congress doesn't have to fund it. Well, I mean, sounds like Congress.
Correct. That is how they stopped. That's how we got out of Vietnam. They stopped funding it.
Yeah, but they own the House. They being, the Republicans. So it's looking like, though, some of the Republicans are starting to say, yeah, we, because they're now going to, sounds like it needs to go through the Senate, but the Affordable Care Act did pass through the House. So, if it goes to the Senate, then they'll, I guess, renew those tax breaks or whatever it is. But yeah, a lot of Republicans seem like they're having second thoughts. Five Rings, how you doing? Says, it's all one party, the ruling party, to get rich, and the American taxpayers are the suckers. Yeah, absolutely. Thunder says America has not officially declared war since. Yeah, okay, so you read that one. World War II, virtual reality. How you doing? He says it's interesting how leftists believe it's okay, illegal, violate immigration laws, but criticize ICE. I mean, I agree with you. I don't see where I don't see how they justify it. They being the Democrats justify wanting to defund ICE because, again, you want to get rid of ICE. You're basically saying it's okay for illegal immigration to take place. Well, illegal immigration is expensive. It costs taxpayers something. But again, there's a lot of people who are American citizens who are paying taxes to fund illegal immigration. But then a lot of them are going home and living quiet lives of desperation because they can't pay for everything they need. So again, these are the Democrats who are wanting to die on the heel of, ICE is bad. It's what some of them doing are bad. Yes, I think we'd be remiss in saying and not saying, yes, some of them are doing some pretty bad things, right? But I think the premise of ICE is to protect the country from illegal immigration. So that's why I said, so then what do they propose happen? Like, what do you want to put in place of that? Just open borders for everybody? Like, how does that work? Wow, Williams, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Buckhorse says, isn't that interesting? The United States ended World War II only to start. Not yet, right? Well, some say World War III. Wow, we in this ish now. Yeah. I also heard too, Donovan, that as far as recruiting people for the military, they just don't have a lot of good prospects like they used to. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was talking about that on my show. Somebody brought up, oh yeah, I said, look, let's be real. Our kids don't. the next big war we get into, it's anticipated to be China. If it was hand-to-hand combat, our kids are obese. They can't walk. They've got this. I mean, it's not going to happen. It isn't the quality is not there. The meanness is not there. You know, some of your best troops come from the South. Those people are so racist that you can send them overseas and they are ready to just wipe out everybody, right? But now we've got these soft. I can't even say it. I mean, it's the fact of the matter is, you guys, the American person is obese and they cannot make the standards, and it's just a sad situation.
Indeed. Bullard, how you doing? Says it's good. What's going on now? We can get our jobs back. Well, it is good in the sense that you can get jobs, but those jobs do not belong to us, right? Those are not our jobs. They allow us to work in those jobs. Anything that we do not directly own and operate do not belong to us. The jobs that do, that we have say so, are the ones that belong to us. And that's what we need to be focused on, because at the end of the day, with all this AI going on and all of that, ain't nobody gonna have no damn jobs, right? Because that's what the end game is to get rid of our humans and let these AI, whatever it is, do it. But we got to start getting back to where we were as Black Americans, even back to Black Wall Street and before civil rights came about. We need to get back to having our own things, but those jobs are on loan to us. They can let us go anytime they feel like it. So it's temporary. So yeah, we need to get more in that frame of mind, but I get what you're saying. Sunlight says the Green Party didn't talk about Keith Porter either. And most of them didn't. Most of them didn't at all. And again, this man was at home. He wasn't in no trick bag with no ICE agents. He was at home doing what most people do, right? Putting a couple in the air. Again, you ain't supposed to do it, but he wasn't the only one. And the ICE agent left his house, right? And got into it with him and talking about, I was afraid for my life. It's like, would you been afraid for your life in your house? So and they said it could take years to charge this ICE agent. This is what the LA, because they've been Department of Homeland Security put it in the hands of the LAPD. LAPD is like, it could take us years to even charge him. So,
and guess who's paying for it on all those years in litigation? The taxpayer. Also, but doesn't that sound familiar? Another similar case. So that's what I'm saying. When you're dealing with law enforcement, they have qualified immunity, and all they have to do is say they fear for their life. Who was the young lady that's in jail and she's going to be getting out fairly soon that deleted a man while he was eating cereal?
Oh, you talking about Botham John, Amber
Botham
Geiger?
John, yeah. And Adam Geiger, yeah, she went to jail. But the fact of the matter is, look at how much time she got based on the fact that was her go-to. I feared for my life. The law is behind law enforcement, even when they're outright wrong.
Yeah, and I think she tried to get out not too long ago, and it was like, nah, you only got 30 seconds in there. You could do this time, right? But again, his family didn't even want her to go to jail. Remember, they was hugging on her, and the judge went and, gave her a Bible and gave her a hug, and they was straightening her hair because this poor white woman has to go do a little bit of time for taking this Black man's life that was eating ice cream on his couch watching TV. She didn't think, or nobody really thought she should have to pay for that. Easy says, the Venezuela takeover is about restoring Blancos back in power in Venezuela. And who's Blancos? That's somebody else.
That's Spanish for white.
I thought so, but I didn't know if that was somebody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's part of the Western Hemisphere. So the United States is trying to justify taking it over because it's a threat to us. And so we need to go and run the country now. It's like, what? You running a whole nother country, right? While this one is going up in smoke, literally. Scoop, how you doing? Says law enforcement been unaliving us. What community gave a damn our way? None. Don't need. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. James, thank you so much. He says, Demetria, hugs and kisses. I want to slow dance with you to this Barry White song. He's all I've got. XOXO. Well, come on, what you waiting for? I'm already on the floor.
Oh, and if you ever, I'm just going to give you guys a warning. If you ever get Demetria on the floor, she won't come off. Okay, she's a dancing machine. She's a dancing machine.
Todd, how you doing? Says black people sat out slavery for over 400 years. Surely we can ride out Trump and his foolishness. I agree. For 3 more years, since we are not united, all we could do is talk about what's going on or make memes. Coming together is the only solution to fixing any of this crap. You're 100% right. No matter who's in the White House, and I agree with you. And like you said, we survived. Listen, Black Americans ain't going nowhere. We have survived some of the most heinous things ever known to man. I mean, there's people scratching their head like, how they still here? Because anybody else that what we've gone through would not have survived that. And I totally agree with you. These 3 years, as I always say, and it's been said before, of Trump's I want to say regime administration, it's an eye opener for everybody, for white folks, Black folks. It's for everybody, especially white folks, right? Because even no matter who's in office for them, they seem to be okay. But now white women are taking one to the dome, right in front of broad daylight. And then you got all these white folks in the White House and everywhere. Well, that's what she gets. She's a terrorist and all this other stuff. So it's, to me, I could be wrong in saying it this way, but I think the Trump administration is the great equalizer. It's allowing everybody else to know. And that's why I say white supremacy hates white people too, because there are some white folks like Trump and all of them who do not believe that the white folks in Mississippi that's getting food stamps are equal to them, are just as supreme. So this administration is letting everybody know we don't give a damn about you. You ain't got the type of money for us to even be concerned or hear what you're saying. So yes, but to your point, Brother Todd, Black Americans, and we've been told this a long time, we are already out of time. So yes, what we're going to do, unfortunately, is point the finger, talking about everybody else and not talk about the solutions that are going to help us get to where we got to go, because we've been told for a long time, up your mind nation, accomplish what you will, do for self, practice group economics and all of that. And somehow that still goes. Shoo. So you're 100% right.
Yes. And, you also got to remember when it comes to situations like that, if these immigrants would come to this country and learn our history, they'd have a lot more respect for us, not the propaganda that the white man shows them abroad and overseas. So by the time they get here, they're under assumption that we're all criminals, drug dealers, and rappers and entertainers. If they knew our history, they would have the utmost respect for what we went through, because ain't no way they would have gone through and survived what we did. But Julius Jackson says, what if ICE is saving us for last, Demetra?
Saving us for last to do what? I'm saying, where they gonna deport us to? Like I said, I'm going back to South Carolina. That's where as far as I've gotten so far. Now, of course, there is some Nigerian in my DNA, as my people were brought, from.
We get no scamming ass up out of here.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Through the slave trade, right? But my ancestors are traced back to the 1700s so far. So where are we gonna go back to? So ICE come from us to do what? Because in that same vein, then all the white people got to go. Because white people ain't indigenous to the United States either. So if ICE is going to get rid of us, then they damn sure better be getting white folks up out of here too.
Well, see, here's the thing. I thought you were going to answer in a different way, and I agree with you, everything that you said. But Julius, I'm just going to say this. Your question is, what if ICE is saving us for last? What would happen to anybody that saves us for last? They get a nice ass whipping, because that's the difference between us and anybody else. We're the only group that constantly fights white supremacy. Why do you think that America doesn't go into Africa super, super hard? What was that regime that just kicked they just closed a joint military base that the United States was in? Why do you think America does not go hard in Africa? I'm gonna give you guys the answer. There's 40 million. There's 40 million Black people behind the lines.
But they do go hard in Africa.
No. What I'm saying is, like, when the Africans, like in the military base that was recently closed, all these places that are kicking the United States out of these bases and stuff, because you've got us behind the lines. That we're not going to let the United States run roughshod over our cousins and brothers and whatever in the diaspora. That it's not going to happen. This is why the United States tiptoes into Africa very slowly, and they pick and choose what they deal with. When you got a bunch of people behind your lines, That's not a good look when you try to do something when you got the enemy behind you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could be wrong. We're not a threat. Not right now. We could be. And unfortunately, white supremacy has been doing, or the false idea of it, they've been doing a good job of keeping us ununified. So we're not a threat right now. We know that they've said that the greatest unity, the threat to America is Black unity, right? And so they've been doing any and everything they can to keep us fighting. I don't care what it is. We're going to fight over it. If it's a peanut, we're going to fight over that, right? So they've done a good job of sowing division amongst, they say, the righteous people, right? If we believe ourselves to be that, they've been sowing division amongst us, and we've just been falling for it. We fall for it every time. And they know damn well we're not going to unite with the people in the continent or the Caribbean. They know we're not going to do that because now we got these, diaspora wars, if you will, going on. So they're not really threatened by us right now. But the minute they're not even threatened by us saying, hey, let's practice group economics. Let's stop giving all our money away. And they're not threatened by that because they know we're just doing this right now, right? But when they really start to see us moving toward that, I always bring up the music in the 90s and the 80s when it got to be more conscious. That's when they was like, oh, no, hell no. Because we know that music is infectious, and, especially if it's telling us be proud to be Black and, all this other stuff, then they're like, yeah, we got to throw a monkey wrench in there because we don't need these, especially these Black kids to think that they kings and queens. We need them to always believe, and I'm going to just say this word once, niggas. That's what we need them to believe, right? And so even back when we was coming up, Donovan, we didn't hear the N word as much as we did in music the way we hear now. Now it's almost the whole damn song. Right, so
the Asians and the Mexicans are using it just as much as we use it,
and it's not our word. That's why I don't really trip. Just don't say it to me, right? But that's not our word, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan and James Baldwin and many others have said. We did not create the nigga, but we act like that now, right? The nigga. And I'm saying this for educational purposes, right? That belongs to them people, the massa. White folks made that word and they made us into that. And we, for whatever reason, won't unlearn not being that. That's why I cringe when I hear and see us fighting over ownership of the word. We don't own that word. Out of all the things we could own, we want to own that. And so even to that, they know we're not a threat right now. Oh, you know what? I see the Black woman and the Black man starting to get along. Okay, well, throw some division out there. Get some YouTuber to get up here and talk about how she hate Black men. And then get some Black man to get up and talk about how Black women ain't this and ain't look like a big old dust ball, right? Like, and the false idea of white supremacy is like, whew, that was close because they almost got together. They almost unified. So they know we ain't a threat right now. They focusing on, who is a threat? Think about where the attention is going, with all the vigor is going. Who's a threat right now is the Mexican, the Latinos. They've always been a threat because they know what was taken from them, and they've always said, we are going to organize to get it back. That's why they're trying to send them back, because they know right now in many places in the United States that Latinos outnumber certain people, and then the white folks starting to see the country starting to turn even more brown than they want. That's why they're trying to undo stuff, right? That's why they're coming with this, oh, I'm proud to be white. I'm unapologetically white, right? Because they want everything to go back to white. So right now they focus on the threat. The Asians think they white. And they acting, and I know a lot of Latinos do too, but Asians, they like, listen, we don't want no trouble. We're going to make our money. We're going to do what we got to do, right? So they not really trying to sway anything. But when Black Americans start really moving in tandem, that's when you're going to start to see them probably, raise their eyebrow a little bit more. But right now, they're like, yeah, we got them, or they on the ropes. We rope those Black Americans a long time ago. So, yeah. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Post out what's going on. He says fear mongering. Sister Sherry says, I don't care what anyone says. Trump had to happen. This is what I voted for. He's letting everybody know you can get some. 2 white, brown, yellow, green, purple, whatever. Not my problem. Yeah, Trump is not having no Big Mac with no white person in Mississippi that's, making $7.25 an hour. So, Ayo, how you doing? Greater good. So talking to Mike. Let's see. Randall, how you doing? Says BTA. And Brother Salam, how you doing? Says, how many times, brother, you gonna tell us you don't want no cat? I think you want a cat. Because the more times you say you don't want a cat, I think you want a cat. There's a lot of cats running around. Just go get you a cat, brother. But how you doing? Easy says, D, you attended the MLK Unity Parade. I'm perplexed on what they mean by unity. Do they mean black folks or other races? When is it? I did say I want to go. Is it tomorrow? Because if it's tomorrow, I ain't going to go. But I thought about going, but I agree with you. Like, what's going to be, who all going to be there? You know, who all going to be there? I guess that's what I want to know. But I thought about going, yeah. The silent investor, how you doing? Says they are so uneducated about FBAs. They thought we are immigrants. No, they know who we are. They know. Come on now. And I'm going to say this. They know who we are because why have they put such an effort on big upping the other blacks and putting them in different positions? They said that's what they do. We are separating. We want to put blacks that aren't from here in positions of power and this, that, and the other because we know that the black Americans, right? They know too much, but these other ones, they going to get in where they fit in, which is why they dragging Byron Donaldson now. You know, I guess he's not black American. I've even seen Tucker Carlson and some other white people calling him tethers and stuff. I was like, see, that's when stuff jumped the shark. As again, it's another hijacking of black narratives. You know, now white folks run around calling non-black Americans tethers. And it's like, okay. They run around calling non-black Americans tethers. Are those white folks that's agreeing with, you know, the FBA narratives? Are they going to help get a check? See, they ain't talking about that. If they're not talking about getting black Americans reparations, who gives a damn what they agree with? You know what I mean? Felicia, he says, but you guys got to build the Constitution would need 10 chance or to be amended. He says, then it would be everyone in Congress. It won't happen. I'm not quite sure what your comment means, but how you doing, by the way? Brother Todd, James says, I believe it's 55 million of FBAs. That's what they say, right? Brother Todd says Trump and his team had to sacrifice that white woman to send a message to other races of people. Don't even try it. And most of the minorities will think twice before pulling off from the police now. And that's the message. Fear us is what they really want to send. Don't F with the police, especially ICE. I totally agree with you. And they've already said that. They've put that out. From the White House page, the Department of Homeland Defense, touch ICE and see what happens to you, right? They basically said this is going to keep on happening if y'all don't get out the way. So they're not backing away from that.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, well, not the sad thing, but the perplexing thing is what they didn't count on was these liberal white women that are being deleted in these situations. That is something, you know, because usually when we talk about white supremacy and racism and stuff, we're always looking at the white man and the black man because we live in a patriarchy, right? The most evil, the most dominant thing of white supremacy is not the man. It's the woman. And why I say it's the woman is because she teaches the children. So where do you think these rabid white racists get their mantra from the people that nurture them, which is the mother? So a good example. Who was the lady that recently died without justice? Emmett Tillman's accuser?
Carolyn Bryant.
Carolyn Bryant. White woman extraordinaire. Stood on business until she went to the grave, and Biden protected her. Isn't that strange? When will we learn?
Yeah. Dietrich, how you doing? You say, ain't nobody scared of Africa. They already got Africa. We destroy our own self. Don't need the white man to do that. We are some of the most ignorant people as a group. We are so easily manipulated. And you know what? See, me and you going to get in trouble because I agree with you to a large extent. And that's not to say we are not great people. Of course, we come from greatness. We have, greatness in our bones, but yeah, we fall for the low-hanging fruit all of the time. And it's sad that we do that. We just can't wait for an opportunity to argue about something. You know, easy, you crazy talking about arguing over baby daddies. Todd says, facts, Demetra, music wasn't still the weaponized, is weaponized, but ultimately we have the final say on what to embrace culturally and socially. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that. We're not really allowing them to tell us what's hot and popping anymore. As I said, as a couple months ago, for the first time, there wasn't a rap album on the top 40 or something like that in like, I don't know, 20, 30 years or something like that.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Stanky Red?
Who?
Stanky Red. Yeah, they said that she was manufactured by that white billionaire.
They're all manufactured by white billionaires. And that's why, I had an issue with Sexy Red and them, and I stopped really taking issue with them because they are just a puppet. They're all manufactured by white billionaires. It's rare that black people and record executives, right, the few that there are putting them out there. It's not them. It is the white billionaires or millionaires or whatever it is that's putting these black artists out there to give them a boatload of money to do the most degenerate things because they know, and forgive me for this, but they know that we are asleep at the wheel as people. They know that we will big up Sexy Red. Sexy Red is grown people music, right? But they know that we'll allow our babies to listen to Sexy Red, Cardi B, and all that. Again, people got mad at Cardi B because she wouldn't let her baby listen to WAP. Oh, she won't let her baby listen. She ain't supposed to let her baby listen to WAP. Why would she let her baby listen to WAP? WAP ain't for babies.
Right. And notice, this is the woman they had talking to the president of the United States. This is the woman they had out there endorsing the vice president to become president of the United States. It was madness when I saw that. I was like, what?
I mean, yeah.
Let me speak. And she had just gave me her word. And then this is the very woman that talks bad about black women.
And that's a lie too. And and I'm not a Cardi B fan per se,
in my opinion.
Yeah, but she doesn't though. That people took the comment that she made and they ran away with it. But again, that's what the internet does. And I'm not trying to argue or defend Cardi B, but I think we should be in fairness. Does Cardi B cosplay blackness? She absolutely does. One moment she's a black woman. Now sounds like she's a woman from the Caribbean or whatever it is. But the other thing too is, yeah, they do use Black American culture to, come up, and then they make all the money talking about I've learned this from being from my Caribbean roots and all this. But it's like and I don't even want to say she cosplaying Black Americans because I hate to think that we think what she does and says, some of the filth is related to being Black American. You know what I mean? But again, they could put whoever they want up there to tell us what to do. We ain't got to listen. But again, that they, being whether it's the Democrats or whoever it is, they know they got the Black Americans number. They know we like to be entertained. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, they give us sport and play. And that's what we like, sport and play. We pay attention to entertainment and all kind of stuff when we should be focused on things that matter. But they know what to give us. Give them some twerking and they'll go nuts over it and they'll defend it. They sure will.
No voting, no vocking.
Yeah, they give them all of that. They'll go crazy for that. The hot sauce in the bag stuff, right? Soul Glow, how you doing? Says you're right, Donovan. The white supremacists never saw this coming. White men are brutalizing the white incubator. But I think it was Brother Todd says she's collateral damage. Because you notice when they talk about, they don't say. I've only actually seen from what I've seen, Black Democrats label her as a white woman. Oh, they did this to a white woman. But when you hear Trump and them talk about it, call her a leftist. Those are radical leftists, right? They're leftists. They're nuts. So obviously they can see who she is, right? She's a white woman, but they don't want to say, call her a white woman. They want to label the whole left off of what she was doing. Quincy says, Demetri, I'm starting to hear the Nigerian side come out. You crazy. I've never even been to Nigeria, but it's in my DNA. As I said, most of our people come from, the slave trade or whatever it is. So, my people aren't indigenous to America. So, let's see here. D. Ernest, how you doing? Said they throwing all these other dark-skinned African races in the mix to confuse who are deserving of reparations versus Black Americans are the ones deserving. They know it, and I believe reparations will occur, but it's a matter of when. I totally agree with you. Totally. Again, in New York, they got the language that says African descent, And when Black Americans had an issue with it, they was like, well, it's in the legislative language. You got to go through all these things to change the language. It's like, y'all think y'all slick because y'all know that's going to muddy the waters by saying African descent. And I'm like I said, if you want to be technical, hell, white people got African descent if you believe the mother of civilization came from the motherland. So that could mean everybody. So you're right. He says, what? It says, oh, you're talking to Buckhorse. It says, Nappy New Year. I think maybe we're Happy New Year, but maybe Nappy New Year's a thing. Much love. How you doing? It says the Caribbean is Black American culture. Please wake up. It's our land. They are our cousins. You are indigenous to the Americans. Listen, I'm not one of those people who get into the diaspora wars. It's just not my thing. I don't like it. I don't get involved, and I'm not telling nobody else to do it. But I don't get involved with the diaspora wars because I feel like there's other things that we need to be doing besides fighting with other Black people. Because like I said, I'm not going to cancel nobody Black. I don't care if you're in the motherland, the Caribbean, South America, until we cancel the real enemy. That when we do that, then we can have those other conversations. But until we, like I said, we get these Asians up out of our neighborhoods selling us bad stuff, the Arabs and everybody else that's doing us dirty in these, beauty supplies. Not until we do that, until we stop giving Black dollars to them people, I'm not about to be having no back and forth with nobody from the Caribbean. That's just me though. And you say you really sound special saying that you are an American Black woman and they are Black Caribbean women. You are of the same people. You are just divided by your conquerors. Well, hopefully you heard what I said.
I love when other people tell you what you're supposed to be doing and how you call yourself and what you call yourself.
I mean, I don't give a damn. I hope that helps. Okay, so let's see. Steven says we have to create jobs. We sure do. Absolutely. James says, Demetri, I only listen to 70s R&B, Blue Magic. Okay, come on now. Shy Lights, Delphine.
Wait. Blue Magic. Okay, wait, Demetri. What's Blue Magic famous for? What song?
I can't say right off the top, but if you sing it, I'll know it.
So let the sideshow begin.
Yes. They to me, I know the difference between the Delphonics and the Shy Lights and the Stylistic and all that, but yeah, Blue Magic kind of is, in that same group. Let's see. Easy says D White's why is the 80-year-old Watt follower so silent? Is she still in Congress? Yeah, Maxine is chasing behind ICE. She's in the back alleys chasing ICE right now.
Yeah, got to remember, Maxine is represented, 70% of her vote came from the Hispanic community. She is now representing Hispanic.
Right. Freddie says, have we reached critical mass because of the Carlson statement? See, I don't want to get into all that because I be getting in trouble. I get in trouble. So sometimes it's rare. I just think it's better for me to keep my mouth shut. Because I'm like, if we, Black Americans, FBA, that's who they were, referencing. If we are like, because I saw somebody say N-word, we made it. I saw somebody say that on Twitter. We made it, and I'm like, white validation means we made it because these two white dudes is talking about, they calling people tethers and this, that. I just be wanting to take a nap sometimes, right? And I don't even take naps. I never do. But when I see stuff like that, I just be exhausted because it's like now that white validation is, white people are starting to talk about it. It's like, now we made it. I don't know. I think it'll mean more critical mass when they talk about, right behind that. Yeah, get those FBAs, they check. That's when when you see white folks talking like that about reparations, they deserve it. Then my ears will perk up, but because they agreeing with that, even they say white folks know. They know the difference. They just using the talking points of Black Americans to get at Byron, whatever his name, Byron Donaldson. They don't give a damn about Black Americans. They just using the talking points to, tell Byron Donaldson you ain't ish. That's all it is. But if they really care about Black Americans, help us get the things that we want. But I don't give a damn what white folks say. If they agree with us, they ain't doing it because they care about us. They doing it because they being shiesty. That's it. But so I don't know. I don't really even know the answer to that. Tyrone says, not gonna lie to Demetri, when I first saw you, kind of reminded me of Miss Cleo. That's funny. I've never heard Miss Cleo. I've heard Nina Simone. I've heard Bahamadia. I've heard Halle Berry a couple of times. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
No. Remember Tyra Banks. That's what they said. Tyra Banks.
Right. Brother Samuel, I don't like the word, but a tether, I guess, is somebody who is hanging on to, I guess, Black Americans or Black American culture or something like that. I guess. But yeah, that's what a tether means. But now white folks are running around saying tether. And I guess, mama, we made it now. I guess. African Davis says Black diaspora war is intentionally instrumentalized and financed by our enemies. Of course. But, like I said, I don't get into it. Easy says, why haven't the world's number one sharecropper rather, push any legislation for George Steeny's family to get reparations? And which number one sharecropper? You talking about James Clyburn? Well, the Obama administration posthumously pardoned him. If that helps. Well, from the 1940s, he was posthumous. Of course, George Steeny was the 14-year-old that was the first Black or any child given an electric chair because he was accused of doing something to some white girls, which is later found out, and they knew then that he didn't do it, but they just wanted to kill up a little Black kid, right? But the Obama administration posthumously pardoned him. So yeah,
which is kind of crazy because he was convicted at the state level.
Oh hell, shoot! There's a lot of KKK and people up in there, And the crazy part about it is probably one of their daddies did it, but they, want this little Black boy, to pay for it. But yeah, it's a lot going on. None of them care, but we gotta care, right? We as Black Americans, we gotta care. And I'm not saying we don't care. We're just so distracted by everything. That's why I say I don't get into a lot of the stuff. Donovan will tell me certain things, or I hear certain things. I'm like, that's not even on my timeline. It's not. When I see certain things, I just keep scrolling because I know that I've been called higher. And trust me, there's a lot of things that I see. I'm like, oh, that would be fun to talk about. But then I'm like, nah, because it's going to go. It's going to go. It's not so. And I don't want to do that. I want to have conversations that matter. So yeah, I see a lot of things I don't see, but a lot of things I purposely just don't talk about, or I don't get involved in. Let's see. Kimmy says it's not about critical mass, but it was said we weren't unified, but we are unified enough to be talked about. We know it's no prize, but give us our props. Delineation is a unified tactic. Again, delineation, we've always been asked to do that, but I just kind of, from what I've seen, I could be wrong. When I hear or see the delineation talk, I mostly hear it talking about everybody. And I was under the impression that delineation was so we could be talking to us. Because I always hear people talk, reference Dr. Claude Anderson and the delineation and things like that. And we're like, were we under the impression that he was talking to non-Black Americans? Or was he talking to Black Americans? Right? I think he was talking to us, right? When he says, practice group economics and all these things. I didn't hear Dr. Claude Anderson mostly spend time talking about everybody else. He was mostly admonishing Black Americans and saying, hey, this is what happens when you allow yourselves to get roped in with the minority, people of color type thing, marginalized people, and I've heard him talk to us about building our own community, stop giving all this money away. Can't recall most of his conversations being about, oh, you're a tether, or you are this, or you are that. I don't recall that. And I think when people quote Dr. Claude Anderson, they do him a disservice because mostly he was admonishing Black Americans for allowing the go down to where it is. Specifically when he talks about the Montgomery bus boycott. He says that sent the ripple to all the other Black bus companies back then. He says, including his family, that when Black people were able to get on the buses with white folks and sit where they want to sit, Black folks lost their minds and said, oh, well, we don't need to go ride the Black bus company no more. And they went out of business. So again, when we talk about delineation, are we talking about other people? Or are we talking about organizing with each other? And as far as us being unified, and I said this to somebody else the other day, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Unified on the internet does what for who? Unified outside, because the internet, and I say this, and it's kind of weird for me to say this, but it's not real, right? Is the internet tangible? For some people, yes, but for all of us, no. What's real and what's unified is when we go outside and you can go to a Black-owned grocery store. As I said to somebody, there's 10 Black grocery stores in America, Black-owned, and I don't know if they're Black American-owned, right? But let's say that they are. There's supposed to be over 50 million of us Black Americans. Can 50 million of us fit into 10 grocery stores, right? Unification does not give away 97% of our money. That is not unified, because if we were unified, we would keep that money because we have all the things that we need to spend our money with our businesses. Unified does not, say that the Black man and woman is fighting all over the place. And now the proof is in the pudding with that, because what? Black women are married to the tune of 30-something%. But back in the day, Black men and women were married more than white folks before civil rights came along, right? So when I hear about unification, what does that mean? Is it in theory? Are we practicing unification? Like, I guess maybe we need to define that, Donovan. What does it mean to actually be unified? What maybe I'm confused.
I got a quick answer for you. Women, sit down, be quiet, get in the kitchen, and we'll take care of the rest. No, I'm joking. I don't.
Hey! I don't have a problem with it. And listen, men, get out there, get to work, and stop asking us for half.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, I know some people would be like, no, that's not right. I agree with that. Back in the day, everybody had a role. I mean, let me take the heavy burden, for my woman, and go out there and do what I go do the right way, and let her rear my children and do all these other things. The funny thing is, I know we're kind of going off subject a little bit, Demetra, but the funny thing is, you're seeing a shift in a lot of women today, younger women especially. They don't want to be out there working like slaves and dogs and stuff anymore. They want to go back and be like their grandmothers. Their grandmothers weren't these slaves that they were told by the feminists and all this other stuff. I mean, but no matter how you look at it, you got to look at the final equation. And the final equation for Black people to be successful in this country is the same equation and answer it's always been since we've been in this country. We have to together. And until we get back to doing that, it's curtains. It's curtains.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just, like for me, I've never really been into biting my tongue a lot, but because I know, and I like a lot of y'all know we out of time. Ain't no more candy coating. Ain't no more sitting around the campfire, in La La Land. Black America, we've been out of time. So I was like, what are we going to delineate and do? That's what I said. Invite me to that when we're talking about doing something, right? I don't want to sit up and talk. I've never been one of those people to sit up and talk about people. I don't like doing that. Will I joke every once in a while? Yeah, but just sitting up talking about people, it is bad energy. And I don't like bad energy. Tradina, how you doing? Says, where is Democrat and Republican in the Bible? They are not more powerful than the Almighty. That is a fact, and they finna find out real quick, right? Albie Chill, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you, one who cares, for asking everybody to hit the like button. Love and appreciate you for that. What? James talking about kitchen and bed. Listen, I know a lot of women who have a problem with that, but don't be asking for half of the rent and you want all of them. Meow. I know a lot of women that be like, yes, boo. Yes, sir. We'll stay home. Y'all pay all the bills.
Yeah, and that's the thing, fellas. You got to run it right. If she's working, yeah, don't get me wrong. It's my opinion. If she wants to work, let her work. But she should be paying half the bills too. It's a combined thing. It's a team effort. But if she's at home, you got to bring home the whole loaf. Demetra, don't I say that all the time? You can't be bringing home the half the loaf. You got to bring home the whole loaf if you want her to stay home full time and do all of that. But at the same time, ladies, just like my late father-in-law said, you can't be making me bring the money in the front door and you're shoveling it out the back.
And won't, right? I'll be frugal with the money and all of that. But like I said, I mean, there's a lot of women who are ready to clock out for good. Okay, clock out, get up. Yes, honey. There's your breakfast and all these other things. Come home to a nice house. Yes, I'll be looking good, smelling good, and all that other stuff. I ain't gonna tell you no.
Ladies, right? Take off the bonnet when your man gets home from work. I get it. It's a protective style, but just like my late father-in-law used to say, I'm around other women out here looking a certain way, and I'm coming home and my woman look frumpy and bumpy and all this other stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and you make sure you bring home some roses too. Some roses, and we like stuff that sparkle as well. Easy says deunify means to cooperate and support one another, share common goals or values, act together despite individual differences. Bam. That's it. That if we could just do that as a people, we could just do that. Like I tell y'all, the book that I talk about all the time, Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth. He says in the book, you can listen to it on YouTube, it's free. Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth. Says we don't always get along either, but we leave all that. We put all that aside. We don't need to know who's going to be the leader, this, that, and the other. In a sense, he's basically saying you shut your mouth. Here's the goal, and this is what we need to get to it. We don't have time to be bickering about this, that, and the other. We just get it done. So when we get back to that, all this, crab in the bucket mentality, well, why you get to be the boss? Who say you know what you talking about? And and then, that, I think that is the working example. We can work from that. Put your individual differences aside. Yes, you may be the king or the queen of this, that, and the other. It might be great and all that you do, but can you sit down and be quiet and let those who know how to really take us there do it? And you can assist, but shut your mouth, right? Stop trying to be more, bigger than the mission, more important than everybody else. We are one, right? Frankie Beverly and Mays, we are one. And that I just really love that song. I really do. Shan, he says, yes, it was doing all that and then some, trying to get rid of Black people. I didn't want the Black people to fool them like some kind of idiots. And the comment is kind of tweaked around. Aries woman says Hispanic women still go 50-50. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Because the way money and things are now, but I'm just saying in theory, I mean, if I got to work too, then I need you to be cooking as well. Now, I don't have a problem with cooking. Glow the Dean getting a little too old now to be on my feet cooking in the kitchen every day, right? That was the young Glow the Dean.
You know what? No, stop. You got your daughter over there who's a master chef making you all kinds of meals.
Damn right, okay? She's a young girl. All that cooking is a young girl's game, right? I ain't gonna be on my feet. And I said that, listen, those who had me, when you had me, you should have treated me right. You can talk to anybody I've been with. They'll say, yeah, she about that life, right? She gonna cook and clean and all that. Nowadays, you might get something on Sunday. I can make your Sunday meal, stretch it to like Tuesday, Wednesday, and I cook something else. And then you're gonna take me out to eat on Saturday. I'm just saying. You're gonna get you a nice, good loaf of bread, right? You can make you some nice organic turkey sandwiches or something, in the meantime, nice cereal, bowl of cereal.
The funny thing is you're laughing. I know a lot of dudes, their women give them a bowl of cereal on, as cold as it is this time of year. You should always cook a nice warm meal of grits, oatmeal or something to get the body going. But you got women out here in California, and I'm not saying all the women, but I'm just saying, and some of the people I know, cold cereal.
Well, what did he do to get the cold cereal, huh? He must have did something to deserve
don't know how to cook. A lot of these women do not know how to cook anymore. That's just a fact of feminism. They don't know how to cook.
Mm-hmm. What don't he know how to do that earned him a cold bowl of cereal?
I have no idea, but I know he's paying all the bills. I know that. But then again, if you're paying for the city girl, that's what you're going to get.
Maybe she felt like, well, you ain't the little 2 minutes you giving, you don't need that much energy for me to be in the kitchen cooking all like that. The 2 minutes you giving me is worth some cereal. The generic kind, okay? With the powdered milk.
Right, right. No, just put some water on it. Mix some water on it. Yeah. All right. Hey, before we get out of here, I just want to tell you guys real quick. You guys know that I always harp on attending your city council meetings and knowing what's going on in the community that you live in. Politics is local. It always starts local. What Trump and them do at the federal level, by the time it gets down to you, it's really irrelevant. It takes a minute. It takes a while before it really affects you because there's always a timestamp, a sundown clause. Something's always going on with it, right? Local politics matter. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys have been following my channel, you guys could see that I put up the video because one thing about Demetra and I, we're not just up here just talking and, just flapping our gums and just, trying to get likes and stuff. We could care less about that. It does help. So if you want to hit the button, it does help the algorithm, but we could care less about that. What we care about is getting the information out and letting you guys know it is that important. In California, the Black voice has been silenced because there's not enough Black people in California left to make a difference. But if you've been following my channel, you will see that I actually do attend city council meetings. And big thing that just happened, we had a developer 10 years ago that made a promise of if we let him build a 40 million square foot super giant warehouse, he is going to make parks and all this stuff and educate these technicians because the robots are coming, right? That was one of the selling points of it. Well, here it is 10 years later, after a public records request, which you have every right. I mean, and Demetra and I were talking about this before the show started. Anytime tax money is going to a nonprofit or any type of entity, you have every right to request documents and public records on that because that's your money. You want to know where your money is, and it's your responsibility to follow the money. So in my situation, I found out, which I knew, this developer, after the city, us the taxpayer, put in infrastructure on his property that he wants to build on. That means we put in the sewer, we put in the streets, we put in the street lights, whatever else municipalities need. So this warehouse has all these roads and structures and stuff, right? Millions of dollars. In 10 years, this man has not graduated or financed one technician to fix the AI robots, which we said were coming, which they are now here. Because these warehouses are not the old warehouse where we have 500 people moving boxes. These are automated warehouses. So you only probably need about 15 technicians in a warehouse, let's just say, hypothetically, to fix the robots. Higher wage job, right? That's one of the selling points. I live in a mostly Hispanic city. Jobs, 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 jobs. That's all the Hispanics want to hear, right? 10 years has passed. Here are the documents. And I dropped these documents Friday night. So again, I'm just telling you guys, if you participate in your government and you watch what your government is doing and you hold these people accountable, things will get moving. When I dropped these documents, the city manager, who is the actual person that runs our city government, he told me, I'll get back to you Monday. That's how shocking these documents are. And so my whole point of this is local politics starts at home. These people start from somewhere, be it a school board, be it city council, be it assembly. Get involved in your local school. And here's the thing, you know what your city thinks of you by the jobs they have in your community. That is a barometer of what your education level is in your city. If you don't have high tech or aeronautics or something that's super booming, you don't have a high education graduation level in your city. My city's full of warehouses. So what does that mean? My city has a lot of dropouts. Think about it.
They call them warehouse workers, right? People, yeah, they just need you for manual labor. They're not going to put the admin offices there where they're paying them six figures. They're going to put the warehouses there. They put the admin offices in places like your, Orange County or Newport Beaches and things like that, because there are a lot of college graduates and stuff there, different type of demographic racially as well. So yeah, if you know that, You know, you see a lot of warehouses in your city. Now you know why. They're like there's not enough talent there to help us do what we need to do. So they decide which building goes where by the educational demographic per se. So yeah. So anyway, we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Donovan and I got a busy day tomorrow. We're going to do 2 interviews. We're going to be interviewing Miss Jessica Jackson. We're also going to be interviewing Tamara Johnson Sheely. And so I'm going to put both of those up, and then we'll be back 5 p.m. Central Time to have another conversation with you all. So yeah, we got a busy day. Tamara is going to be talking about reparations, right? That's her thing. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what are we actually doing? Well, as I say, you know, there's some people who are good at organizing and boots on the ground, and that is Tamara. She ran for the Senate of Georgia, so you guys are familiar with her. But we won't be live. We'll do it recorded, so we can, you know, really ask her some questions and things. But she is fighting for reparations every single day. She's having conversations with Republicans and Democrats, right? And she really feels like they are getting close. And so I say all that to say, it's, you know, we have to start using our strong points, whatever you're good at doing. Like Donovan, you know, he's good at disseminating the information, and he's good at boots on the ground and getting in there and getting, you know, making FOIA requests and getting the documents. And so he's good at a lot of that stuff. Myself, I'm good at dissemination. I can organize, but it's not my strong suit. I've done it before. So we got to start using our talents and putting them together so that we can all get what we want. So that is going to be a really good, busy day tomorrow. So y'all, please stay tuned. Alicia, how you doing? Says, agree with Donovan, Safa, Renee, but look at the coverage at the GoFundMe. Oh yeah, GoFundMe for her. ICE has killed Black folks, but no coverage. The last time I looked at Renee's GoFundMe, this was a couple days ago, it was $500,000. I don't know what it is now. I'm sure it's more than that, but $500,000. I think a day or so after that happened for the brother, Keith Porter. I saw Najee Ali, the activist in Los Angeles, put one up, and it was less than $2,000. So yeah, no reparations, no vote. How you doing? So yep, y'all stay tuned for all that. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will see y'all tomorrow, and y'all definitely will see us. Peace.